Listen, Alamo Drafthouse packed a theater full of pregnant women to watch this movie for an advanced screening, which I think is the funniest thing in the world. Like, we're talking about a story where a little kid's body gets inhabited by another being that's ready to spread evil. I personally think that the movie was a rent-it, and it's definitely pushed me from having any LME babies for another 5 years at least. Let me explain. So the movie starts off in Ohio, where a serial killer named Edward is kidnapping women. He's cutting off their hands and then doing this weird ritual with their limbs as he hums a Game of Thrones like hymn. This dude is known as the Thrush Creek Killer, who eventually gets caught when one of his victims gets away and someone gives her a hand to escape. Meanwhile, in Pennsylvania, Captain Mid-America and Piper Chapman are having a child, and on that same night, at the exact same time, that serial killer in Ohio gets caught, pulls a Chucky as he gets shot, and enters the body of the closest baby being born at the time because of this ancient ritual that he pulled. Again, don't try this at home. Thus, this kid comes out with two different colored eyes just like the killer. Everyone thinks he's a prodigy, not realizing that there's an old man living in there. And while his parents think he's up late studying, kid is doing these demonic sounding chants by his bed instead. Now, it's not like a Benjamin Button case where this old man has full control. They're actually sharing the body, so there's a point where the kid pulls a black mirror and realizes that there's someone inside of him trying to take over. So by 5 years old, Edward starts taking command of the body. He's playing hide and freak with the babysitter, dressing up like a 21 Pilots fan, pulls a moonlight at school, and as the parents try to figure out what's going on, this old man inside the kid comes up with an abuse narrative that just halts everything. Now, there's a lot, and I mean a lot of creepy kid movies coming out, and I think the reason they personally irk me is because I don't know how you get out of that situation. Like, if there's a grown killer, right? Y'all just tell people and they'll be on your side. If there's a monster, you just gotta show them proof. Hell, if there's a possessed doll, I'm pretty sure you can still sway people to believe in you. But a kid? Bro, they can straight knock somebody out at school, and the next day that kid will be served fruit snacks and an apple juice by a therapist caressing them about their past. Y'all don't remember what they did to Michael? So the mom then decides to start recording the kid mumble rapping at night and realizes that he's speaking an ancient Hungarian language that less than 4,000 people know, so it pretty much narrows it down to who it could be. But the funniest part though is when a doctor, a scientist, someone in the medical field suggests that it's reincarnation and doesn't think twice about it. Now, I'm watching the movie, so I know that's what it is, but lady, you have a degree. Mom then goes down a rabbit hole of research as she tries to connect this deceased serial killer to her son. And I kid you not, there is a point in the movie where it started feeling like a PSA. Like, I started wondering if the filmmakers actually believed in this thing that was happening in the movie. Like, everyone's seen those movies dealing with human trafficking where they like pause the movie halfway through and remind you, oh, this isn't just a thriller, these travesties happen every day, and they show you like real life footage of it. Well, this movie has a bit of footage from what I think was like Nightline that the lady is watching, where a real family who believes in this is trying to spread awareness. But I had to search up to make sure that this movie wasn't directed by a middle-aged man in a 5-year-old body trying to tell us something. It's not. As the killer starts taking over Miles' body, he goes out and kills the dog. He baits his parents into yelling at him in public, gets the dad to accuse him of spying on him in his own home, which is a wild thing to not have control over your household, but then straight up shanks the dad into a coma and is able to blame it on a car accident. Meanwhile, the mom's like,
"Come here, baby."
Miles ends up blackmailing this dude who's trying to hypnotize the truth out of him by claiming that he's been drugged and touched by that guy. And Miles even goes as far. Miles literally goes to the point of putting pubes that he found in the dude's bathroom in his mouth so the guy wouldn't call his bluff. Pubes. Homie, what? So now the mom's torn because she wants to kill half of the kid who's inside of him, but also wants to keep the other half that is her child. And since King Solomon ain't around, she decides to do the weirdest thing possible. And that's finish the killer's wish. So in order to get rid of the old man living inside her 5-year-old child, she decides to find the runaway victim that got away and kill her in hopes that Edward would just break on through to the other side, but it turns out that Edward had already completely taken over Miles' body, like halfway through the movie. The mom then tries to Abraham the boy, gets shot by a nearby hunter instead, and little Miles gets moved to a foster home where he's already salivating over his new mama's hand as he looks into the mirror, revealing the old man Edward that has fully taken over. Also, proving that all these creepy kid movies out there have become the best form of birth control. Thank you guys for checking out this video. I'm curious to know your thoughts down below in the comment section. I thought it was a fun watch, right? It gets really absurd and crazy. Supposedly there was a scene, according to the director, that while they were testing it with audiences, they had to cut because people, they were like screaming to the point that they couldn't hear the follow-up line. I don't know, could be just marketing, but I think that's pretty interesting. I always find it interesting that they have to ADR the kids' lines. Like, the kid can't say stuff like, I'm putting pubes in my mouth. So I don't know how they like mess around with it in the editing bay. Like, do they just get him to say the entire alphabet and then Siri him? I have no idea. I mean, we are dealing with a kid who is obsessed with hands more than Tarantino is with feet, but I'm curious to know your thoughts about it. Do you think there's going to be a sequel? I mean, the mom is gone, but the dad may come out of the coma. Is the kid just going to continue doing things until he gets older and, the man just becomes a man again? I think it's hilarious when you really think about it, that a serial killer is inside this boy's body and he's fully taken over halfway through the movie. Can you imagine an old man sitting through elementary school? I think it's hilarious. I thought the movie was entertaining. Curious to know your guys' thoughts down below in the comment section. Don't forget to comment, like, and subscribe, and that kid in the corner will go away.